This Indian woman content creator named Future Mom of Chili and Pepper made this thread, and it is amazing, and y'all need to see it. She says Indian men going on a marriage strike is laughable because marriage has never benefited a woman anywhere in the world to begin with. Married men don't perform the invisible labor that our society desperately needs to function. It was a scam created by men to trap women so that they could reproduce with women artificially. Put down the Uno reverse card. Your threats aren't going to work. What does a woman get out of marriage? The most common answer is protection and resources. Most women would stop you right there and ask, what protection and resources? The wild thing is, this is an Indian woman saying this, but you could literally replace that first word, Indian woman, and it could be many of the women globally that have been saying this exact same thing. Anyways, let's get back to the tweet thread. She says protection. A lot of men won't even stand up for their girlfriends and wives when they're being gossiped about. The protection, even on the most basic verbal level, is non existent, let alone physical protection. A lot of y'all won't defend her from your toxic mother or toxic female best friend. Secondly, protection from whom? Other men? Oh, so we're going to marry a natural predator to protect us from other natural predators? Is that what you're reducing yourself down to? That's arguably more dangerous than not getting married in the first place. LOL, my knife is a lot. My knife is a lot safer and reliable than a human man. I promise. Resources. Okay, now, what resources? $40,000 a year is not resources. That is barely living above the poverty line. The men with actual resources are the last ones worried about women being gold diggers. You know why? Because they're using those resources to get a woman, which only tells us that a woman's mere presence is worth the resources. You're giving her the resources to be with you. Next, the reason this is a common response is because resources used to be a thing that women couldn't go out and get. Why? So that men could brag about being providers and protectors. Now that women can go out there and get our own resources, the market has changed. So has the value and the demand. Women no longer have to be with men for access to basic human rights. We have most of those, so that argument no longer works. LOL. We're in 2024 now, and even though we're not close to women having equality and all their basic human rights, despite being crippled as women and not getting the same opportunities as men, women have decided that men's resources are not enough to sink their entire lives into a black hole. Start flipping that question and ask yourself, what's in it for the women really? Because I promise you, all your protection and resources and blah, blah, blah is not worth the headache, disappointment, mistreatment, and abuse. Oh my God, she dropped the mic with this. And like I said, what's wild is she said that Indian men are going on strike. India is definitely high up there for patriarchies and having misogyny baked into the cake of their society. Women, I believe, are probably taking a deep breath of relief, saying, "Oh my gosh, yes, please go your own way." We shall see how much they go their own way, because the men here that have been talking about going their own way and holding their passports, they have yet to really go their own way because they keep ending up in our spaces. Let's look at some of these quote retweets. AV says, men staying away from women is the biggest win for us. I sincerely hope they stick to it. Please don't threaten us with a good time. Stay true to your word and leave us alone. So many of our problems would be solved. Safika says, if only these men keep up their word, half of our problems would be solved. Ashwani says, the most important thread I have ever come across, hats off. Countess Bucci says, honestly think that men boycotting marriage in India would be a good thing. Please, by all means, leave women alone, I beg. And then she posted this screenshot of this article that was titled, Why Are So Many Indian Housewives Self-Deleting? It was an article titled, that was put out back in 2021. M says, yes, but I personally no longer believe in educating cishet men on basic human decency or feminism or equality or anything because no one but they themselves are responsible for it. They can all rot for all I care. Soph says, the best thing dumb minimists can do for women and society is going on a marriage strike. Please take yourself out of the marriage market. Please don't ruin another person's life. So the women are not pushing back as hard as they think they are. I think that they were taking their ball and said, I'm leaving, and then trying to walk away and hoping that women will be like, please, 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 don't leave, don't leave. But women are just like, go ahead, go. Please stay away. It'll be fine. Anyways, let me know what you think about this tweet thread. The next tweet thread is amazing. I saw this going around a few weeks back when it happened, but I listened to the video today and it was literally amazing. So this is the tweet. Daily Wire host goes on a strange sexist rant. The central purpose of every society is to figure out the distribution of women. Women cannot take care of themselves. And he talks about the distribution of women as if we are appliances. Like, okay, we got too many women over there, and every man needs a woman, so we got to figure out where to put the bulk of the women. Y'all have got to see this video, but this is the part that got me. When you have a democracy, the best system is monogamy, right? One per customer. Everybody gets a woman. And it sounds like that means that weak people will be allowed to breed, but it turns out it's actually a pretty good system because it favors diversity. So he's talking about, because if we were gorillas, the big daddy gorilla will get all of the lady gorillas. And that's how we are because, we're kind of like them. So with monogamy, all of the customers, which is the man, get the wife appliance. He's literally talking about us like that. And they don't see any irony in this. This is literally what we are to them. All we are bang maids, incubators, and there to serve them, the customers. And they are failing and flailing as women are opting out. Women might not have been able to provide for ourselves in times past, but this is the reason why they kept us oppressed. The reason why we had to get men's permission to make medical decisions so that men could keep control of women. All right, watch this video.
Now, I don't believe in making great generalities about things, like what they call totalizing principles, like life is about this or society is about this. But sometimes it's kind of like being the blind man with the elephant. You're only seeing one side of it. But sometimes that helps. Sometimes you're just taking a look at one side of things. And that's what I'm going to do now. There is a sense in which the central purpose of every society is to figure out the distribution of women. Because women are valuable. They're valuable not just for their company and for their way of looking at things and for sex, which is a lot of fun, but also because they are the only path there is to continuing your genetic inheritance. That is the way it is. When men want women on this kind of basic animalistic, just life level to reproduce, right? So the most obvious way to distribute women is to give all the women to the strongest man, right? So you reproduce from the strongest person. That's the way many gorillas, silverbacks live. The one guy gets all the girls. And the problem with that is it sounds like a good idea, but it's unstable because obviously all the other guys finally think to themselves, oh, I know what we'll do. We'll get together and we'll kill the main guy, the alpha guy, and we'll steal the woman. And that's why those governments are unstable. That's how you get Magna Carta, where the aristocrats, the most powerful people, go to the king and say, we want power too. That is kind of the human way of acting out that guerrilla system. Ultimately, other men want women. When you have a democracy, the best system is monogamy, right? One per customer. Everybody gets a woman. And it sounds like that means that weak people will be allowed to breed, but it turns out it's actually a pretty good system because it favors diversity. Because a lot of times the smartest guy in the room and the strongest guy in the room are two entirely different people. So you want the strongest guy to reproduce, but you also want the smartest guy to reproduce, and that is how humanity advances. In fact, monogamy, one per customer, is a really good basis for a society. However, it goes against the gorilla code. And the gorilla code is written into our DNA. We're somehow related. I'm not saying we evolved from gorillas, but we're related to them. We're not that far away from them. Men want lots of women, so the strongest man wants all the women, and the women want the strongest man. That is the way evolution has designed us. So the strong have to take back the women. They want to take back the women from a system that is free. A system that is free is going to be a monogamous system. That's the way that works because it is the best system for freedom. It means everybody gets something, right? All the women get a man, all the men get a woman, as close as we can come to that. The strong want to take women back, and they have to do it through, because it's a free system, they can't do it by force. They might want to, but they can't. They have to do it by lies. And there are two big lies they want to tell them. One is your husband is a no-goodnik, he's a pain in the ass, and he's bossing you around. That's the first lie. And that lie is probably not a lie. It's probably true on some days at least. But the big lie that the government wants to tell you, that the people who want the power concentrated all in one place to get all the women, they want to tell you is that women can take care of themselves. And women hate the idea that they can't take care of themselves, but women cannot take care of themselves. They're smaller, weaker. Men are stronger. Men are mean. They're more aggressive. They will take them over. They'll do it anytime they can, anywhere they can. They will abuse them. They will hurt them. Women have to come up with different strategies for survival than men do, right? Men buff up. They get tough. They study karate. They learn how to fight. Women can do all those things, and there still is going to be a man who can take them down. Women have to find different ways of being safe, and one of those ways is finding a man to protect them.
The other day, someone sent me a message or asked me to look into the child marriage situation in Iraq. So this is a tweet thread that starts a conversation. Many are shocked by the news that Iraq's parliament is about to lower the marriage age for girls from 15 to 9. Oh man, she says there are examples from other countries too. In Sudan, it's 10. In Afghanistan and Yemen, it's from puberty, but in reality, it's 6, 7, and 8-year-old girls are also married off. This is child trafficking. This is stealing little girls. This is terrible. And I don't know if this bill is actually going to pass, but it definitely has people up in arms. So this is an article from Time magazine. Proposed bill amendment in Iraq could allow girls as young as 9 to marry. What to know? And you can see down here, women of Iraq are protesting. They are crying out. They know that their daughters are basically they're not safe. An amendment to Iraq's 1959 personal status law was officially proposed in the Iraqi parliament on August 4th. The draft law could theoretically make it legal for girls as young as 9 to get married. The bill was proposed by Iraqi MP Raad al-Maliki and is supported by conservative Shiite factions within the government. Many civil society and women's groups have mobilized against the law, protesting on the streets of Baghdad and other cities across the country. The law would add the option of having matters of family law, such as marriage, adjudicated by religious authorities. Civil courts that file marriage and divorce may become obsolete and will no longer defend women's rights to alimony, custody of children, or other rights, said Yanar Mohammed, president of the Organization of Women's Freedom in Iraq, according to the Middle East Eye. The MP who proposed the bill, al-Maliki, has denied that it could lead to child marriage, saying that such implications are lies fabricated by some of hatred for applying the provisions of God's law to those that want them. That's what he said. Like little girls really want to get married at 9 years old. What is the current legal status of child marriage in Iraq? Iraq's 1959 personal status law prohibits marriage for individuals under the age of 18. Exceptions can be made for women as young as 15. It should not say women as young as 15. That is a girl. Girls as young as 15 if they have permission from both a judge and parents, according to Marcin al-Shamari, a scholar of Middle Eastern politics and assistant professor at Boston College. Girls are 15 years old. That is a girl. That is not a woman. Iraq's 1959 law was heavily influenced by the Iraqi Women's League and is one of the most progressive laws in the region, according to Naji Al-Ali, a professor of anthropology and Middle East studies at Brown University. The reason it is perceived to be one of the most progressive laws of the time, and even later on, is because it made it much more difficult for a man to marry a second, third, or fourth wife. He actually had to have permission of the first wife. Ali tells Time. It also made divorce possible for women. It pushed the marriage age to 18. And very crucially, it was a unified set of laws that applied to both Sunni and Shiite and Sunni Muslims. So they had this progressive law, but now they got these conservative men that want to strip the rights of women and basically steal little girls' childhood for the sake of men. Basically, patriarchy all over the globe is trying to strip women and girls of our agency and our autonomy, and is definitely getting tiresome. Y'all join the conversation. Let me know what you think of this tweet thread and this article and the proposed amendment to the bill. Like, comment, and share.